Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, I thought I'd do a book haul video. I don't usually do book haul videos because typically when I buy books, it's like one or two at a time. So this book haul video is just 4 books, which is a lot for me because typically I don't buy that many books at one time, and they're all brand new. So I spent about amount of dollars on it, and I wanted to stop myself before I had to take a mortgage out to pay for the rest of the books, because I went to the bookstore the other day and everything was looking good to me. So the first one that I picked up was The Wheel of Time. The Eye of the World, book 1 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. And this was one of the, at Barnes & Noble, it was buy one, get one half off. So I was like, I've had my eye on this one. Every time I go to Barnes & Noble, I come across it, and I finally pulled the trigger the other day, and it's just, I just love the presentation. It just looks so clean. This little sticker thing says that it's going to be an original series on Amazon Prime Video. So that's pretty cool. So it might be a good time for me to read this so that whenever that comes out, because I've seen ads for it, so it might be coming out soon. But I've just come across this one all the time, and I never really picked it up. But the other day was the day to do it. So it's very fantasy driven. I know it's a very long epic series. There's like 14 books in the series, and the last couple had to be completed by Brandon Sanderson, who is also another fantasy writer, because Robert Jordan died before he could finish the series. So this one has to do with, as you can see, very like fantasy with like swords and magic and dragons and like that type of setting, which I don't read a lot of, but I really like. You know, it has to be the right series. I don't read a lot of just mainly fantasy. I'll read like the big ones. Like I've got a book review coming of Fellowship of the Ring by Tolkien. I like, I would say more like mainstream things rather than just trying out a new series, or like Game of Thrones, that type of thing. I do like those settings though. So that's the first one that I found. The second one, along with the buy one, get one half off, was Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. And I'm really interested in Greek mythology, not to the point of studying it, but I like the themes, and I like that setting that most of them are set in. But the reason why I picked this one up was because on the back it says, Piranesi's house is no ordinary building. Its rooms are infinite, its corridors endless, its walls lined with thousands upon thousands of statues. So within the labyrinth of halls, an ocean is imprisoned. Waves thunder up staircases, rooms are flooded in an instant. So stuff like that really interests me. Labyrinths, mazes, infinite doorways and corridors, because my favorite book, I know I've said a million times on this channel, is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. And that house is like a tinge of supernatural and mystery that they have to get to the bottom of, where they live in a house that is essentially infinite, with shifting doorways and corridors and things like that. So the main reason why this one caught my eye is because I love House of Leaves so much. Not saying that they're related in any way, although there are some Greek mythology themes in House of Leaves, but it really grabbed my attention when it said that the corridors are endless and rooms are infinite. That's pretty interesting to me. I like reading stuff about that. So that was number 2. Number 3, I wasn't looking for anything in particular, by the way. I just came across these and spent a little bit more money than I usually do. But the Peculiarities by David Liss has something to do with living in London. A very not heavy magic themed, but there's a mystery around magic in this London setting, and a fog rolls into London and is making strange things happen, including the main protagonist who starts turning into a tree or starts growing leaves on his arms. I don't know what that's all about, but it sounded interesting, and wanted to pick this one up so that I could learn more about it. And I really like the artwork on the front. It's really cool. And then the last one I got was Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, Book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. And this is the author that finished Robert Jordan's series, The Wheel of Time, when he passed. And this one I've also had my eye on. I see so many other book review channels talking about it, and I see videos on it all the time, and I come across it just in searching. But I never bought it because the only editions that I could find were like either hardcover, which were like $40. I don't want to spend $40 on one book, or the mass market paperback, which is like those little tiny ones. And this book is already thick enough, but with those mass market paperbacks, it would be, it's like really thick, and just for a little tiny book. And I don't want to have to, exert my strength to try to hold it open. Although I have read Game of Thrones in those little tiny books, and I like reading Game of Thrones in that edition, and I couldn't explain it to you why. But I tried looking on Amazon before with this one, and I could only find a hardcover version or that mass market paperback. So when I saw this one on the shelf at Barnes and Noble in this like soft cover but like bigger edition, I was like, you know what, I better just buy it now, because if I don't buy it and I'm in the mood to buy it, it's not going to be there. That's just how life goes, it seems. But this one's also, without really knowing too much about it, seems like also in the in the similar realm of the Wheel of Time, where it's about kings and swords and medieval magic and epics so far. So I think there's like 4 books out of this one, and this is the first one, and they're all equally as large, possibly larger than this one. So I'm looking forward to previewing and reading all these books. Who knows when I'll do a book review on it, because as you can see over here, that pile of books behind me, those are all the books that I've started. So whenever I start a new book, I'll read like 50 pages and then move on to the next one. And then I just read maybe like 50 or 60 pages of a book that I hadn't picked up in a couple months. So like, I tend to not stick with one book for too long, unless it's like really gripping. And it's not because any of the books are terrible or anything like that. I like sampling different stories at a time, which is like which is basically a complete 180 of how I used to be. I used to not like to read multiple books at once because I would get them confused and whatnot. But recently it's pretty fun. Buying books and reading books are 2 completely different things. So just wanted to update you on stuff that I've been reading lately, stuff that I've been buying, and I'll see you guys in the next book review video. See you later.